So we're on our way to France. We are at the Tribhuvan International Airport right now, and we are super excited and thrilled to be experiencing the art, architecture, culture and everything else that France has to offer. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
My ama came to drop me off at the airport, which is always a pleasure. We flew from Nepal to Doha and Doha to Paris, and just like that, I landed at the city of lights, Paris. Mesmerized, excited, but ready to explore what the city had to offer. The streets, the buildings, the history, this was it. I was at the heart of France. I was taking it all in, processing, as we were hosted by a lovely family, full of love and life, with delicious food and hospitality. For the time being, I felt at home. Meeting with the Nepal's ambassador to France, I went for a stroll around the city. Saying it was like a movie would be an understatement. I mean, the lights, the colorful reflections, and the artistic silhouettes of historic architecture. I could not be happier as I realized I still had 8 more days in this magical country. Bonjour, I'm Shrinkhala Khatiwada, and this is France Through My Eyes. In March, I was invited to France as a Goodwill Ambassador. France has always been a dream of mine, and seeing it turning into a beautiful reality with heart full of gratitude and mind full of imagination, I keened to live these 10 days of my life with nothing but joy and happiness. So tag along with me and let's travel together while I endure my Paris dream.
I'm looking forward to visiting the vast fields, landscapes, stone-paved pathways, old buildings, villages, and all the warm hospitality of Toulouse that I've heard so much about. Really excited for the journey ahead.
Countryside of France has always intrigued me. Seeing it in the movies and magazines only, I wanted to see it for myself. And what could be better than the city full of rich history itself? So we went to the heart of southwest of France, the city of Toulouse, where we were hosted by the Honorable Mayor of La Motte-Goas. And let's say that the French cuisine over a delightful conversation made the trip even better. After lunch, we visited the church. Being one of the oldest churches, it carried certain aroma with it, the one that reminds of history and spirituality. While being there, I could not help but fathom these walls, that how many stories it must have endured for centuries, that how many prayers were echoed in these vast roofs, and yet there it stood, magnificently as a breeze against the test of time. It was a testament that faith never dies and hope always persists.
This 14th century church in Gers is one of the top 10 oldest churches in France. Look at the landscapes here. Everything is so beautiful, so beautiful.
Afterwards, we visited the museum, an exhibition museum for Nepalese art about our country and our people. There we had a short interaction over a party organized by the Jers Himalaya Association. We bonded over our stories from Nepal, about our mutual love and respect for each other's country. What an amazing feeling to find relationships in strangers thousands of miles away.
It's day 3 in France and the weather is quite chilly, the good kind of chilly, the kind that I like. Today we'll be visiting the senator and we'll also be visiting some essential oil factories, some organic farms, so looking forward to the day today.
With the weather this nice, on the third day of our trip we went around the countryside where the Honorable Senator gracefully showed us the beautifully displayed meteor brought from Africa. It was such a noble experience to actually touch a matter from outer space. We visited a cosmetic factory along the way. Some of the products were imported from Nepal. Nepali herbs are apparently quite famous worldwide. I always appreciate a well-designed building, and the factory that we visited was no exception. Beautifully located amidst the vast green lands where the material used for the products were being organically produced. I could imagine how the fields must look like in summer when lavender is in full bloom. It was great knowing the inside of the factory. They offered me some of their products, which was a very kind gesture from their side.
So that is the reason why the French are so beautiful. Thank you for the gifts.
Then we visited another lab on the way. From there, we explored a bit around the place. Afterwards, the mayor of Audun-la-Hougue welcomed us over a delightful party. Cheers to the French hospitality.
Oh, it's getting chillier here at Audun-la-Hougue. Almost time for sunset. I am forever grateful for all the experiences that I received in this beautiful, beautiful village. A bientôt!
Later in the evening, we went to the Saint-Marie Cathedral, one of the most beautiful churches, accompanied by beautiful souls. What more can I ask for? Well, you can see I made some special friends along the way too. I was just loving it. Everything was beautiful. The colors, the ambience, the sunset. Everything so surreal. As it was once said, a journey is best measured in friends rather than miles. Traveling is great, but the people we meet along the way, make memories, share stories with, are the reason why we travel. It's the way we as humans evolve as a society together. Travel does bring out the best out of us. It also gives us time to analyze things, self-evaluate, and develop a vast new perspective about the world. It's a beautiful thing. Back to Toulouse. We were welcomed by Mr. Badji Khadka, who then hosted us in a beautiful Nepalese restaurant called Yeti. Overwhelmingly, many Nepalese people living in France came to visit us. We talked about home and various topics, but mostly about how life has changed for the most in France. Then we strolled around the city for a bit. Well, enough of this chitter-chatter. Here's the time for some B-rolls.
With clear bright skies. It's almost sunset again and we are on our way to the city center. Follow me.
On the fifth day, we visited the place where aeroplanes are born. Well, manufactured, but it's the same thing, right? Being there, surrounded by metals and huge engines, the inner nerd in me took a lead. Like a child in a Disneyland, I wanted to experience it all, and so I did. After a stroll around the factory, they showed us the different types of aircrafts and how they are being manufactured. From Wright Brothers' rough notebook sketches to huge ATRs, we have evolved fastly as airfaring civilization. These are the planes that fly above our land, the plane that has taken me to different corners of Nepal, and here I was, watching its journey from scrap to reality. I got to test the aircraft simulator, which simulated what it's like to actually fly one of these crafts. A little complicated for my skill set, but equally fascinating and intriguing. For the better part of my childhood, I wanted to become a pilot. And you can imagine my excitement when I got to be inside the flight simulator, as we technically landed the plane at the Toulouse airport. After the ATR tour, we visited the Airbus factory. Everything was bigger. Equally amused, we were off to the Airbus museum.
About to take a picture in front of it. We're at the museum.
We spent a day in the Mecca for aviation enthusiasts at the Airbus and the ATR factory. From Beluga to Concorde, we conquered it all. Beautifully decorated with equally rich design, I felt like in a James Bond movie. This beauty could fly at the top speed of 2179 kilometers an hour, supersonic. This was the day we visit Dior, a brand that has taken over the world. I was excited to watch it up close, from pencil sketches to couture reality. What I had only seen on runways were being crafted right before my eyes. The precision, the details, the craftsmanship, and the dedication all under one roof with more than 70 years of legacy. Amazed and equally mind-blown, I was fascinated to learn the fashion heritage, the 1800s fashion etiquettes, the culture, the artistry, the tidiness of the dress collection. Everything was beautifully organized, delicate, and, well, the incorporation of technology with fashion industry was amazing. Crafted on the high walls and the art present in such a tiny space in this vast world was more than enough to represent the entire nation's art. Then we went to meet the French Foreign Secretary, an extraordinary diplomat and a well-skilled man. He had already inspired me on our brief meet during his visit to Nepal, and this meeting was no exception. He gave us a wonderful trip around the Foreign Ministry building. Minister of Communication and Information Technology, Mr. Gokul Baskota, also happened to be on a visit to the ministry. Such a pleasant surprise. The day ended at Kirandai's humble abode. We started our day with brunch at the world-renowned Hors du Casse restaurant, French cuisine at its finest. A new day with newer opportunities, the day I was the most thrilled about. We were visiting the Versailles Palace. What an amazing cluster of art and architecture. The juxtaposition of history and art where each article spoke of the rich history of the country. As mesmerizing as to look, it was equally precious to glimpse back into the past. the reminiscence of a glorified history and skilled creations. There's something about the statues and establishments that compel all of us to look back at the past to plan a better future. We were extremely lucky to be able to visit the Inner Orchard, arguably the biggest in the world, in a privately guided tour which I'm extremely grateful for. And wait, this is the best part. We're here to watch PSG versus Manchester United Champions League. I'm living my dream right now. Oh my god, this feels so surreal. This feels surreal. The night was surreal. I had always imagined watching a big football game live at a stadium someday, but who would have thought it would be PSG versus Manchester United?
This is happening.
VIP seating alongside Sir Alex, Nicolas Sarkozy, Didier Deschamps, Evra, Pogba, and tens of others whom I'd only heard of. I'm going to Sisley. Sisley, a world-renowned cosmetic brand among hundreds that France houses. A much-needed refreshment at the world-class facility of theirs to rejuvenate and recharge myself for the day. So just got a facial here at Sisley and it was so relaxing. I took a nap for more than an hour, I think, and the products, the ambience, everything, the atmosphere was so beautiful. Thank you for the gifts. Afterwards, we visited French Assembly Nationale. It was already evening, so the Eiffel viewing could not be better. We went to see the legendary Eiffel Tower, also known as the Iron Lady. And with the dinner, my night was already made. We just had dinner at one of the most famous restaurants in Paris with the food made by one of the top chefs ever in France. Thank you so much for hosting us and for a lovely dinner. It was definitely one of the highlights of our trips. I hope to come again and have your delicious food. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. An urban miracle, La Défense has made its own identity in a city like Paris. Modern architectural marvel that succeeded in creating its own identity in a city that is already renowned worldwide for its centuries-old architecture. was invited to France as a Goodwill ambassador, where I could enjoy a lot of experiences in many fields: architecture, heritage, football, gastronomy, fashion, even civil aviation. I could go to Paris and Provence. I could meet high-level officials at the Parliament and at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Obviously, I could meet Nepali nationals living in France. Having all these experiences, I was always warmly welcomed. As a representative of Nepal, I felt really appreciated and considered.
I'm getting emotional. I don't want to go, but I promise to come back soon. Visit again, probably around summer. And I'm very glad that I found a new family away from home. Thank you so much.
Every day, I was invited to people's home to share meals, to stay overnight. Nepali people living in France and French people who are friends of Nepal. In Paris and in Gers and Toulouse, I received an unforgettable welcome. I could feel the depth and authenticity of friendship between Nepal and France. It is a lifetime experience, and I feel very much indebted to these people. This is the true value added of my mission as a Goodwill ambassador.
It's almost time to bid goodbye to Paris. You've given me so many memories that I'll always treasure throughout my life. But as you say in Paris, it's not goodbye, it's à bientôt. I'll see you soon. Lots of love, lots and lots of love.
France, you've been one of the greatest experiences of my life. Thank you, French Embassy in Nepal. I'm forever indebted.
Au revoir, à bientôt. See you soon, France. I don't think I can ever get enough of you.